Hello guys. So, in this video I will tell you a story about a film called Changeling. This 142-minute criminal mystery drama film was directed by Clint Eastwood, starring Angelina Jolie. This film is based on the true story of the Wineville Chicken Coop Murders that occurred in 1928 in California. The plot focuses on a mother named Christine Collins who reports to the police that the son she lives with is not her missing son. However, her report caused her identified crazy and she was sent to a mental institution. Now, let's get to the story. On March 9, 1928, located in Los Angeles, there is a single mother known as Christine Collins. In this morning she just woke up from her sleep and woke up his only son named Walter.
Up against the wall. Got it, look.
That morning, Los Angeles was quite busy. Christine had time to take her son to the front of the school, before continuing on her way to work.
Books. Go ahead.
Christine works as a supervisor in a telecommunication company.
Yes, ma'am. If you hold just a moment, I'll get a supervisor for you.
Hello, this is the supervisor. How can I help you?
It was difficult to be a single mother, especially. Walter always asked where his father was. Walter had never seen his father since childhood. But Christine never honestly explained to her son where Walter's real father went. Christine only said that Walter's father was running away from responsibility.
Something called responsibility.
That's dumb.
That is exactly what I thought.
Despite her living conditions, Christine continues to live her life well and is able to care for her child without any problems.
Come now, time for bed.
The next day, on Saturday, March 10 in 1928, Christine was supposed to be off work and spending the weekend with Walter. But her manager Margaret contacted Christine to ask her to work overtime, because her colleague couldn't come even though the office was very busy. At first Christine had refused, because she already had a promise with Walter to watch a movie. But Margaret forced Christine to come because there were no other employees who could do it. Inevitably, weekend with Walter was postponed. Christine knew her son was disappointed and angry, but she tried to speak with Walter and make her son understand the situation. Christine promised to be home before evening. After Walter said that he'll be just fine, Christine immediately went to her office.
I can take care of myself. I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm not afraid of anything.
I love you.
After her work was done, Christine actually wanted to go home as fast as she can. But his boss, Ben Harris, spoke to her and offered her a chance to fill the manager position at the Beverly Hills branch. This short talk makes Christine miss the bus. She had to wait longer for the next bus and came home a bit late. But, when she arrived, she can't find Walter. She tried to look for him in the house and around the complex, but the 9-year-old boy was nowhere to be seen.
Honey! Susie? Have you seen Walter?
No, Mrs. Collins. Sorry.
Walter?
Panic and worry began to fill Christine's thoughts and feelings. She returned home and called the police to report Walter's missing. But the police refused to come because Walter's disappearance had not been more than 24 hours. And he was suspected of just playing with his friends. But eventually, Walter never came back home since that day.
Hello, my name is Christine Collins, and I'm calling to report a missing child.
I'm sorry, but our policy is that we don't dispatch units on missing child cases for 24 hours. I'm sure he'll show up by then. They always do.
The police started moving in search of Christine's son. But, after 1 week searching, the boy has not been found. This case had become public issue, in the place where Christine lived. Even Pastor Gustav, a pastor in the local church, was sympathetic to helping publicize this story among his church congregation. Pastor Gustav also expressed his criticism of the Los Angeles Police Department or LAPD, which is considered corrupt, abusive, and incompetent, because it often imposes punishment outside of its jurisdiction.
Young son Walter Collins disappeared nearly 2 weeks ago. But given its status as the most violent, corrupt, and incompetent police department this side of the Rocky Mountains, I am not sure it's saying a great deal.
At that time, LAPD was led by James Davis and his troops, the Gun Squad. They are known for breaking the law for their own benefit.
Police Chief James Davis and his aptly named Gun Squad. Every day, this city sinks deeper into a cesspool of fear, intimidation, and corruption, where to be the law is to be above the law.
April 3 in 1928, almost a month after Walter disappeared, Christine suffered a lot. As a mother who gave birth and cared for her kid alone, she hardly had the strength to live. But, in the end, she chose to go back to work and meet other people, even though his mind was more focused on the progress of his son's search process.
I understand. Thank you. I will call back in a few weeks. All right. Please do call, and I'll call back in a week if that's all right. Thank you very much.
A few months later, on July 20th in 1928, in the county at Illinois, there was a man who left a boy at a restaurant after pretending that he wanted to get his wallet left at home to pay for their order. After several minutes of not returning, the restaurant chef called the police.
Hello, Myrtle. Yeah, this is Harv down at the diner. You get me Sheriff Larson?
2 days later, Captain Jones of the LAPD Children's Division met Christine in his office. At first, Christine was vulnerable. She thought her child would not survive, but Captain Jones says that Walter is safe. There are no words that can describe the joy of Christine at that time. She even cried because he was so happy to hear that Walter was still alive and already in police protection.
Mrs. Collins, including your sons, and he's alive, Mrs. Collins. He was picked up 2 days ago by local police in DeKalb, Illinois, but he's safe.
The finding of Walter quickly gained local notice. Many journalists wanted to interview Christine in accordance with a press release published by the LAPD. The LAPD used this to their advantage, expecting that good news would cancel out negative criticism of their department.
Right now is to reunite this little lady with her son.
Christine arrives at the station with Jones and James Davis. But, as soon as the boy was carried out from the train, Christine gets confused. She was sure that the boy was not Walter.
It's not my son.
Jones convinces Christine that the boy was Walter. He looked different because he had been through 5 difficult months in his life. The boy who claimed to be Walter managed to mention the full address where Christine lived.
And that's my mommy.
Jones, who didn't want the press release to fall apart, asked Christine to take the boy home for a test to prove that he was truly Walter. At first, Christine was hesitant, but eventually, she agreed to take the boy home.
All right.
All right, you're not thinking clearly, that's right.
When the boy was taking a bath, Christine realized that the boy had been circumcised. Christine was sure that Walter had never been circumcised before. She then measured the boy's height, which turned out to be shorter than Walter. Christine realized that the child was not Walter. The difference between Walter and the child is very clear. Christine then asked the boy who he really was, but the boy remained silent.
Last time I measured my son, he was inches taller than you are now. Who are you?
Then the next day, Christine met Jones at the police station. Christine explained the differences she discovered between her son and the boy. Christine confirmed that clearly the boy that she brought to her home was not Walter. Jones, on the other hand, believes that Walter was circumcised by the man who kidnapped him, and there must be an explanation for his decreasing height. Not only that, Jones presumed Christine was attempting to avoid her responsibilities as a mother by denying the boy is Walter, her real son. However, Christine persists and pushed Jones to continue searching for Walter.
Well, I don't understand why you're running away from your responsibilities as a mother.
I am not running away from anything, so I can find my son before it's too late.
Jones then assigned a doctor, Earl Tarr, to come to Christine's house. Earl Tarr is assigned to check the physical condition of the boy who now lives in Christine's house. The doctor said there were some similarities between the boy and Walter. Christine believed the doctor's opinion was ridiculous. Christine was suspicious that the doctor was there to really help her.
I thought you were here to help me.
When Christine told the doctor that had a height discrepancy between the boy and Walter's, the doctor assumed it was because of the trauma that had caused his spine shortening. Christine still believed that the boy is not her son. The doctor also persisted on his theory, which he provided without even conducting any research and was based only on personal assumptions. Christine was even more unconvinced of the doctor's reliability, as well as the LAPD's.
Wouldn't I know whether or not he's my son? I'm the mother.
Then Christine called Jones again. She complained about her situation, feeling slandered as a negligent mother by many people. Despite the fact that she was sure that the boy was not her son, Christine's mental health continues to deteriorate as well. She gets frustrated and depressed because no one is searching for her kid now. Even though she still takes good care of the boy, Christine still can't accept him as her son. Christine even yelled and cursed at the boy when the boy called her mother.
Good night, Mommy.
Stop saying that! I'm not your mother! Damn you! I want my son back!
There are regrets afterwards, so Christine came into the room and explained her feelings to the boy. She begged the boy to admit that he was not Walter, not her son.
No matter what the police think, no matter what the world thinks, we both know that you're not Walter. But I need you to understand that my son is my life. You just have to tell them that you're not my son. Please.
The next morning, Pastor Gustav called Christine and asked her to come to his church. When Christine got there, she was asked to read a newspaper which published a slanderous news that Christine was a very bad mother for her child. Pastor Gustav also said that the news was a propaganda from the LAPD to slander Christine, and to maintain the good name of their department for bringing home a child by mistake. Pastor Gustav then exposed the depravity of the LAPD agency after Jones take a lead, how they acted ruthlessly by killing others without proper justice, and become a corrupt cop, by allowing smuggling happened in their city for a fee. Pastor Gustav offers to help Christine fight the LAPD and find her son again.
And to help you fight it, if you choose to.
Christine begins her strategy to prove that boy is not Walter. She took the boy went to the dentist where Walter used to be treated. Christine assumed the dentist must have Walter's medical track record. The dentist who checked the boy's teeth confirmed that he was not Walter, since Walter previously had fillings on the back teeth, while the boy's teeth looked clean. The dentist also said that there were no indications of dental surgery, considering the fact that Walter did have one. The dentist was willing to help Christine by making an official statement that the child who was brought home was not Walter.
Would you be willing to put that officially in writing?
Pardon my language, but hell yes.
After that, Christine took the boy to Walter's school. Christine's suspicion became even stronger for the boy because he did not recognize his own teacher. The boy even doesn't remember where he's been sitting. Walter's teacher, Mrs. Fox, dared to provide an official statement and become a witness in court to prove that the boy was not Walter.
I will testify to it in a court of law or to the President Calvin Coolidge himself if I have to.
Thank you.
After all the evidence had been collected, Christine dared to tell the press her story about Walter who had not actually been found. Christine also attacked the LAPD for not admitting their mistakes.
I have letters from his teachers and his doctors all confirming that he is not my son. I have given the LAPD every opportunity to admit their mistake and renew the search for my son. Since they have refused to do so, it has forced me to bring my case public, to finish what they started and bring my son home to me. Thank you very much.
Jones was furious by this public statement. Then he directed to brought Christine and the boy to the police station.
Bring her in the back way.
Yes, sir.
Why are we going in the back?
Captain's order!
At the same time, there is a detective named Ibarra, who gets the assignment to arrange the deportation of 15-year-old boy from Canada named Stanford Clark. Clark lived illegally on a ranch in Wineville, Riverside County with his uncle known as Gordon Stewart. When Ibarra left the office, Jones called Christine into his office to confront her and accuse her of being insane. After that, Christine was framed by Jones and placed in a Los Angeles County General Mental Hospital.
You're trying to shirk your responsibilities as a mother. It's because either you know you're lying or you're not capable of knowing if you're lying or telling the truth. Mrs. Collins, you still insist that the boy out there is not your son?
Yes, I do.
You are to convey the prisoner to the Los Angeles County General Hospital psychopathic ward.
Then, Jones told the press that Christine had been considered insane due to delusional and dislocated paranoia that kept her from accepting reality. The poor mother just wanted her son back, is now trapped in a psychopathic ward for women only, where she was treated roughly since her arrival. Christine was given a room with a crazy woman who kept yelling at Christine for making her share a room. This was not an interesting and good experience for Christine. She became depressed.
My room. No. This is my room. My room. My room. My room. They said it was my room.
A few days later, Detective Ibarra met a man repairing his truck on his way to a North County farm. Ibarra greeted him and asked the way to the farm. Without realize the person being questioned turned out to be Gordon, the uncle of the boy Ibarra was looking for. Gordon looked nervous and almost wanted to reach for the shotgun from the back of his truck, but he resisted and pointed the way to the ranch.
Is something going on out there? No.
Ibarra immediately went in the direction that Gordon had mentioned. The ranch looks quite abandoned. Ibarra managed to find a boy there. The boy ran away and entered the house when he saw Ibarra.
I have a warrant for a minor named Sanford Clark.
Ibarra followed the child into the house. While inside the house, Ibarra discovered numerous abnormalities. Then he realized that the man he had previously met was Gordon. Clark had attacked Ibarra, but easily defeated by Ibarra.
Stop here, I'll push your face to this floor!
Ibarra immediately took Clark to the police station. Actually, Clark was shocked. He just wanted to be deported back to his home country.
What?
Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, Pastor Gustav has just assigned his assistant to find out about Christine's disappearance. They had made an appointment to conduct an interview and publication session through a special radio channel filled by Pastor Gustav. He didn't know yet that Christine had been transferred to the ward of the mental hospital.
I'm going to tell you what happened until somebody does something about it.
At the same time, Gordon tried to escape to Seattle to avoid arrest. The first night had been passed by Christine and Ward. During breakfast time, Christine meets another prisoner named Carol. Carol asks about the case that brought Christine to this place. Carol is revealed to be one of numerous women who were taken to the facility for trying to go against police authority and expose the police department's failure. Carol's presence now really helps Christine's to survive in the facility.
Don't you get it? We're here for the exact same reasons. We both pissed off the cops. But they can't do that. Are you kidding? Everybody knows women are fragile. I mean, who are you gonna believe? Some crazy woman trying to destroy the integrity of the force? Or a police officer?
At the police station, Clark, who had just received his deportation schedule, suddenly remembered his uncle's bad actions, which caused a traumatic in his mind. He insists on meeting with Ibarra to report the terrible things he knows.
Stop it. Please. It's important. I'd like to talk to the officer who brought me in.
On the same day, Christine met a doctor named Jonathan Still, who asked her how she felt when she arrived at the ward. Christine remembered Carol's words and tried to act as normal as possible in front of the doctor. Jonathan's then diagnosed her as delusional because the statement was considered different from what the doctor knew. Meanwhile, Clark has met with Ibarra and told him all about his uncle Gordon. Clark had no intention of living illegally in Los Angeles, but Gordon had threatened to kill him if he tried to leave. At first, Ibarra doesn't want to listen to everything Clark said, but when Clark begins to talk about all the murders done by his uncle, Clark quickly gets all of his attention.
He said that if I tried to leave, he'd kill me.
Let's start at the beginning then.
He killed some kids.
What kids? What are you talking about?
Clark said that Gordon had forced him to help with the murders of a number of children. He felt guilty, but he was also afraid that his uncle would kill him if he refused. Clark never knew the names of the children who were killed. There were about 20 kids that Clark could remember, but probably more than that. Ibarra realizes that this has become a serial killer case. Clark told the mode that Gordon's use for kidnapping children are by taking advantage of his presence, so that children could believe that they were safe because there were other children with him. Clark couldn't hold back his tears when he explained it due to the trauma and pain he felt. He said, Gordon could catch 2 to 4 kids a day, round them up and kill them one by one.
I'm not gonna hurt you, huh?
Eat sometimes, Steve.
If anyone survives, then Gordon forced Clark to kill him. Then Ibarra showed Clark the photos of missing children and asked him to identify them. There were dozens of photos that he managed to recognize, one of which was a photo of Walter, Christine's son. This raises suspicions that the child has died in Gordon's hand. Ibarra was so agitated, she couldn't believe something this bad could happen.
Oh, God.
Ibarra reported this to Jones, who refused to believe it. Jones accused Clark of making a false statement in order to find opportunities to stay longer in Los Angeles. At the same time, Pastor Gustav and his congregation at the police station, they were seeking clarification about Christine's whereabouts. Jones hangs up the phone after asking Ibarra to take Clark to the LAPD offices.
And you bring me that kid, you got it? Nobody.
Jones arrived and informed them that Christine had been placed in a mental hospital under custody due to a mental disorder.
Mrs. Collins has been placed in protective custody following a mental breakdown.
Christine is being compelled to take sedatives she shouldn't have, and according to Jonathan, she could have been set free if she agreed to sign a statement acknowledging her mistake about the boy and admitting him as her son. However, Christine refused. There was a fight after that. Carol, who had helped Christine, was punished with an electric shock that paralyzed her. Jones, who had expedited Clark's deportation process, compelled Ibarra to break his silence and take action. Ibarra brought Clark back to the ranch and initiated an investigation into the matter. Accompanied by 2 of his associates, Ibarra conducted a thorough search of the house and farm, and then requested Clark to disclose the location of the children's buried bodies. Although Clark was initially hesitant, he quickly discovered several victim body parts buried in shallow soil after a short time of digging.
That's it? You sure?
Yeah.
Prompting Ibarra to request the nearest officer from the farm to come to the scene and set Gordon's fugitive status.
Then put out an APB on Gordon Stewart Northcott. Stop now. It's over. Hey. Take it from here, okay? It's over. It's okay. It's all over.
It's been the 6th day since Christine was arrested. Despite Jonathan's attempts to persuade her, Christine continued to refuse to sign the statement.
Fuck you and the horse you rode in on.
Just as Christine was nearly electrocuted, Pastor Gustav arrived at the right time to free her. He showed Jonathan the newspaper report about the Wineville murders, revealing that Walter was one of the victims, and promptly freed Christine. As she emerged from the dangerous situation, the first thing she heard was the devastating news of her son's death.
Collins boy assumed dead!
The LAPD has been left embarrassed due to their public deception, which was brought to light by the revelation that Jones's stubbornness about Walter's whereabouts contributed to their problems.
Because if the boy you brought back is not Walter Collins, and he's not dead up at that ranch, then where the hell is he? But if, on the other hand, he is or could be among those poor boys killed up in Wineville, better his mother accept that now than later, don't you think?
Yes, sir.
It's a momentary embarrassment you're just going to have to live with.
During Ibarra's interrogation, the boy previously known as Walter revealed that his real name is Arthur Hutchins, and he only wanted to go to Los Angeles to see his favorite actor. However, the police instructed him to lie and become Christine's son, adding to the complexity of the case. Despite this, Christine ultimately lost her enthusiasm for living.
What are they going to do to me now?
Sometime after, at Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, September 20, 1928, Gordon, who had become a fugitive, was finally arrested at his sister's house after she reported his whereabouts.
Hi, sis.
Gordon! I didn't know you were back in town.
Is that? All right, go next door. I'll call the police.
He's upstairs, sir.
Go around the other side. Head him off.
With Pastor Gustav's assistance, Christine was introduced to Han, a renowned lawyer who was willing to handle his cases pro bono. Han promptly obtained a court order to release all the women who were unjustly arrested by the police for speaking out against department.
Then I guess I would have to hire a lawyer.
Unfortunately, we can't afford to really hire him.
Which is why I'm doing this pro bono.
Thank you.
I have a court order for the immediate release of all women being detained in this institution under the designation Code 12.
On the day of the city council hearing covering Walter's death, it was the busiest day in front of Los Angeles City Hall, where thousands of protesters demonstrated demanding answers from the city government and condemning the LAPD for their work. Christine arrived at the hearing accompanied by Hans and Gustav, but to her surprise, neither James or Jones nor any police representative from the council was present.
Mr. Thorpe, I don't see any members of the police commission.
As they were attending a prosecution hearing in a different courtroom,
The police decided it'd be best to keep this off the main dock.
However, Gordon, who recognized Christine from the newspapers, greeted her upon entering the courtroom.
Hey.
At the beginning of the trial, Gordon firmly maintained his innocence.
How do you plead?
Oh, not guilty, Your Honor.
During the counsel hearing, a brief interlude was shown in which Jones persisted in denying his guilt, prompting Hahn to persist in cornering Jones throughout the trial.
Every family in this state is in grave danger. When a police captain can take a woman into his office and 5 minutes later have her thrown into the psychopathic ward on his own authority.
She wasn't thrown, she was escorted.
The life of her son. A boy who may have still been alive while you were wasting valuable time denying you had done anything wrong. And in the end, that's what happened, isn't it? Is that correct, Captain?
Yes, it is.
Multiple witnesses were presented in the Walter case, corroborating Christine's statement that her child was still missing. Despite the lack of evidence of the child's death, and also driven by her maternal instinct, Christine firmly believes that Walter is still alive and refuses to confirm otherwise.
Images. They establish beyond any reasonable doubt the circumstances and...
And even though I couldn't see him or hear him, I could feel him. That's why I don't think Walter's dead. I can still feel him.
After the final trial, the counsel came to a conclusion that Jones and James were dismissed from their duties as the police. It is crucial that the unlawful abuse of the police comes to an end. Additionally, Gordon was found guilty of first-degree murder by a jury and sentenced to death by hanging after spending 2 years in prison.
That the suspension of Captain Jones be made permanent.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Gordon Stewart Northcott, guilty on all counts of murder in the first degree.
By the removal of its chief of police, and this committee so recommends. This hearing is concluded.
Will you be held in solitary confinement for a period of 2 years, until October the 2nd, 1930. On that date, you will be hanged by the neck until dead.
Christine met him before his execution, but instead, Gordon refuses to say if he killed Walter.
Did you kill my son? Did you kill my son?
You're gonna hurt me.
I hope you go to hell. I hope you go to hell.
Gordon was executed the next morning in front of the victim's parents, including Christine.
You don't make me walk so fast!
On February 27, 1935, Christine received news that David, one of the boys that became the victims of Gordon's kidnapping, who was thought to have been killed, had been found alive in Hesperia, California. According to his interviews with officers, David revealed that he was detained with Walter and 2 other boys, and although they managed to escape, they were unfortunately separated during their escape. David was unsure whether Walter was recaptured or not, but he confirmed that Walter was the one who helped him escape.
The police just called. They found a boy, Christine.
Where?
Lincoln Heights Precinct. We're leaving right now.
I'll be right down.
It's David. He's alive, Christine.
And Walter. Collins?
Walter Collins.
When we get out, we're in different directions.
So you don't know if either of the other 2 were captured?
No. All I know is, if Walter hadn't come back for me, I don't think I ever would have gotten out of there.
This confession gave Christine hope that her son was still alive. She continued her search until the end of her life, and film was completed.
Still think he's out there?
Why not? It gives me something I didn't have before tonight.
What's that?
Hope.